every pilot and passenger I take up in the air is special to me, and probably they have a pretty special story to them. But this guy right here takes that concept to a whole new level, because he used to fly this. And at this moment he flies this. And today he flies this.
My mom is sitting outside.
Dus 0 Hotel Echo Lima Alpha.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of ForFunFlyer. We're back at Drachten Airport, my home airfield, as you might know already. And today I have a very special guest that will tag along for the flight. I'll introduce him in a couple of minutes. But first of all, I want to again say thank you very much for the support that you guys show me. It's really motivating and helping to continue this vlogging process. Can you introduce yourself real quick for the people watching at home?
Yeah, my name is Jeroen Dickens. You've invited me because I've done some stuff in aviation. Yeah. I've done F-16 flying for 16 years. I just transferred now to KLM, our Royal Dutch Airlines, and today I have the pleasure of flying with you in your beautiful aircraft. So
how did your aviation story begin?
Well, it's hard to tell actually. I had a love for flying from when I was a small boy. But where it came from is hard to tell. I have my parents, my family have nothing to do with aviation whatsoever, and I lived away from all the airports in the neighborhood. So I guess the blood comes from somewhere, but I can't tell you where. First thing I can remember was when I was on a holiday in Germany with my parents, and we went to a small glider field in the Alps somewhere. Okay. And my dad had to drag me away from the airplanes because I thought I would be able to fly that afternoon or later the day, but I was 6 years old, and it was hard for me to leave the airfield. I was inspired by it.
Okay, and did you ever do something with RC flying or not at all? Did you go ahead and...
Actually, I started off with aviation quite a way directly, so I didn't do anything with RC. I just started RC recently when I had some more time. But no, I just started off from nothing, and I went into F-16 flying right away. Okay, cool. So how did that procedure look like? I know you don't have to share all the details. Well, it's a long process. The selections and all that stuff takes about a year. Okay. And it starts off with some tests and the coordination and selective listening and a lot of paperwork, personality tests and character tests and all that stuff. Okay. Eventually you'll go into simulators and flying and sport tests and medical tests and all that stuff. And after about a year, you actually are hired by the military. You do your standard military education, so something that every officer in the Air Force at least has to do. Okay. And from there on, after a year in military training, you start flying, and you start off with flying a little bit in the Netherlands. Next to that, you go to the States for a few years, and after a long process, and about 5 years later, you'll be an operational F-16 pilot in the squadron, and you're ready for whatever life throws at you.
So you progressed. I don't know if there's a sort of progression within being an F-16 pilot, pretty new out of training.
So you're never done. You keep learning and you keep progressing up the ladder of F-16 pilot training or whatever you want to do. Once you get to the squadron, so you have all your jet training and all that stuff already behind you. You've flown a few jets, smaller jets, slower jets and faster jets, and now you've done some basic training on the F-16 and weapon systems and all that stuff. Now you are at the squadron, and then you start off with mission qualification training, so they pretty much make you ready for war as a wingman. Okay. Then you're done as a wingman, you do that for a little bit, and then you make you a flight lead, and then as a flight lead you're the boss of 2 aircraft. Oh. And then they make you a 4-ship flight lead, and then you're the boss of 4 aircraft. Okay. And then there's a lot of qualifications that you can next to it. You can become a mission commander, most people do that as well. You can become a weapon instructor, you can become a type rating examiner, you can become an FCF pilot. That's somebody who checks out the
check flight.
Yes.
Check flight.
Yeah. He checks the airplanes out when they come from the factory. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You have actual test pilots. They go to the States for long training as well. Okay. And then they do all kinds of tests on new materials and new equipment that we can put on the F-16.
Okay, so and you did all what you just described?
No, I did not do everything, and most people don't do everything, but I took a nice selection of it and enjoyed myself thoroughly with that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not actually a qualification, but it's just a little PR job that you can do, and that's what I did as well. I was the F-16 demo pilot, and with that you just you're lucky enough to be the one in that season who gets to show off the F-16 to the public.
Yeah.
So you travel through the whole of Europe and you go to all the air shows and show people what an F-16 can do. So you fly low and fast and do all kinds of stuff with the F-16 just to demonstrate how nimble and how agile the F-16 actually is.
And you get to do it all legally, right? So you don't get a ticket or anything.
That's true, yeah. Everything I do during the shows would normally get somebody fired.
Yeah, exactly.
But because you train for it and you have had special training to do and you're qualified to do the shows, you get to fly the demonstration, so it's pretty special.
I've seen a couple of your shows. It's just brutal.
Yeah.
And when you see actual cockpit footage, and then it's harsh on a body. I can imagine.
Yeah, I always describe it as running a marathon in 10 minutes. So you'll actually be exhausted after a show.
Yeah, or run over by a truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So and you brought a piece of history with you. So what's the story about that?
That's my helmet I used to wear when I was flying demonstrations. It's a little bit special, so it's not the typical army suit or the army helmet, the Defense Department helmet that they provide you with. But I got to paint my helmet in special colors to make it show worthy on an air show.
When each day when you look at the helmet, you have all these flashbacks from earlier days. I can imagine.
Yeah, good memories. The demonstration season in the Royal Dutch Air Force stopped in 2014. So that's when the last shows were flown, and that's when I handed in the gloves, and there was no more demo pilots after that.
It could be that you're the last F-16 demo pilot because of the F-35 getting into service right now. So
yeah, who knows? We'll be flying the F-16 for a couple of more years as the Netherlands. Yeah. But if there will be a demo pilot, I don't know.
So let's continue the interview up in the air. I'll show you around in my airplane, and we'll have some fun and do the second part.
Drachter Radio, Delta Mike Oscar Tango Tango.
Oscar Tango Tango, Drachter.
Delta Mike Oscar Tango Tango, microlight PUB2 on the grass, taxi to the platform and request aerodrome information.
226 right hand.
26 right hand, Delta Tango Tango. Now, let's do a check. Chokers off, both, magnets on both. That's okay. Okay. Fuel select. We got the temperatures, oil pressure.
About it, okay. Final, full stop.
Okay. One on final, okay.
Roger, the wind is 300, 10 knots. 300, 10 knots. Papa, absolute Oscar.
Delta Tango Tango lining up 26 and departing.
The wind is 2907.
Okay, now, ready? Ready. Pretty poor visibility, but
it looked a lot better on the ground, huh?
Yeah. Oh, any first thoughts?
It's awesome.
Thoughts, all right.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It's not the power of an F-16 and full afterburner, but still.
It's a different airplane, but.
Again, welcome to the cockpit.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Mighty airplane, the FK9 with registration Delta Mike Oscar Tango Tango. So back on the ground, we had a little chat about the F-16 part of your aviation story. So let's continue with the story that is current right now. You transitioned from being an F-16 pilot to being a commercial pilot, right?
Hey, firm. Yeah, I switched from the Air Force to KLM, our Royal Dutch Airlines, and it feels like a second life.
Okay, cool. So, what did you already know what kind of airplane you wanted to fly, or how did it go? That particular procedure?
No, actually it didn't. I just, when I decided to leave the Air Force, it didn't really matter that much to me which aircraft I was going to fly. And actually now being in the commercial airline, it still doesn't really matter to me, but what is really important to me is all the destinations that we fly to. I fly the Boeing 777 at this time, and luckily for me that's pretty much KLM's main aircraft at this time.
Okay.
So we have a lot of destinations, which keeps the variety high.
Okay, cool. And so what was exactly the journey you went through when you quit being an F-16 pilot into actually being the first officer of 777?
Well, actually I'm a second officer right now, so KLM starts off in the 777 with a second officer slot.
Okay.
Luckily before I went to the military aviation, I already did civilian flying.
Okay.
So my transition was pretty smooth. I did some check rides and I worked up for the grading at KLM.
Okay.
And when I finished and passed the grading at KLM, I just had to get a type rating, which was about 15 hours in the simulator for me, and then I was full up, ready to go.
Okay, wow, that's pretty short journey.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Took me a month, and then I was flying for KLM.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The most private pilots are doing like 2 full seasons of schooling, but you already had quite a sophisticated type of training, right?
Yeah, I was pretty much ready to go, and that's also what KLM knew when they hired me. They knew I would be ready quick. So the changeover from F-16 to civilian was pretty quick for me. Right now I've got a lot of destinations, so we fly from the Far East to the Far West and all the way south from South Africa to Buenos Aires in South America. So all over the world.
Okay, so how much hours do you fly on average?
On average month I do 4 flights with KLM, and 4 flights most of the time accumulates to about 85 hours.
85 hours, okay. Oh, that's pretty solid. That's almost one busy year of flying for me.
Yeah, it's different though. I mean, flying with KLM is a lot of managing. It's not what we're doing now is actually flying. With KLM, it's managing an airplane and professionally and safely bring the passengers to their destination. So it's a different story.
Speaking about flying, do you want to have a try?
Obviously,
okay, sure. Okay, your airplane.
All right, my aircraft.
So for the people watching, we're actually en route to his birth city. It's called Emmen, and it's a mid-sized town, I guess. How many people live there?
I would say about 100,000.
100,000 people already, okay. Oh, okay. So that's a pretty large city compared to a lot of other cities here in the northern part of the Netherlands. But okay, so we'll try to pass the back garden of his parents. At least that's the plan right now.
Always fun. My parents are used to having an F-16 overhead, and now I'm gonna show them a different little airplane.
But you were pretty restricted in doing funny stuff, right, with an F-16?
It's not funny stuff, but to deviate from your route a little bit in an F-16, it was only like 30 seconds for a mission.
30 seconds. Crazy. Okay. But you still had to do the minimum requirements for altitude, etc.
Absolutely, yeah. All those restrictions still account for.
Okay, yeah. Oh, cool. That's something different. So what is your feedback on flying a microlight like this? Because you had some earlier experience with a microlight?
Yeah, I flew a microlight before. It's a black shade.
Okay.
And I already found out it was pretty fun when I was doing it. And it was not somebody's own airplane, but it was at that time we rented it as well. But this, to fly your own aircraft, that's pretty special. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I mean, any flying is fun. I do everything. I do paragliding, now the light flying, I did F-16, and I'm in the professional aviation with KLM as well. Yeah. It's just all fun.
And you recently started model flying too?
Yeah.
RC flying?
I even built my own little airplane.
That's just awesome. that's the best flying ever. So in your flying career, could you, it's always a difficult question, but could you point out a certain high and a certain low?
Well, I must say with flying it's pretty much almost all highs, but again, obviously everybody has a little low, but start off with the highs. Yeah, doing F-16 demonstrations throughout Europe, that was an absolute high. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was low flying, fast flying with the F-16. Yeah, it's quite a buzz. To jump into lows, well, I guess everybody gets an exam, which is a little bit tougher than you expected. So you get the joy of doing it again. Those joys tend not to be so joyful, but it's character building. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, the motivation is all the flying is fun. I mean, I've flown, as I said, I've flown quite a few aircraft throughout my career, but it doesn't have to be an F-16 to be a lot of fun. I mean, we're flying this guy's own airplane right now, and it's so much fun just to be up in the air and then enjoy the view and fly around. So if you like flying, just go and do it. It doesn't have to be an F-16, it doesn't have to be a Boeing 777. Just enjoy what you're flying.
In what part of Emmen do they live?
In the east part. Okay. So just take you past the recreational, and then we're going to circumnavigate the industrial area here, and that's, they live over there.
Okay, cool. Do they actually know what kind of airplane you're flying right now?
No, they don't. It's a surprise. Yeah, my mom is sitting outside.
So they're actually waving and stuff?
Yeah, she's sitting outside.
Cool. Look Ma with no hands, kind of.
Yeah. Fly around the city, or do you want to go over at the city?
No, it's fine.
We can do that actually. It's a small aircraft now, we're not bothering everybody.
After checking out the rest of the city of Emmen, Jeroen and I decided to head back to Drachten Airport.
Drachten Radio, Delta Mike Oscar Tango Tango.
Tango, go ahead.
Delta Tango Tango, microlight PB2, returning for local VFR flight east of Rotterdam at 700 feet, inbound for landing and request aerodrome information.
26 right hand.
26 right hand, Delta Tango Tango. Delta Tango Tango, turning final 26.
Sure, the wind 290, 8 knots.
Roger, Delta Tango Tango. Approach speed looks good. A bit wobbly because of the trees.
This flight with Jeroen wasn't only fun to do, it was also very inspiring to hear his aviation story. So thank you Jeroen for sharing. And of course thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this one with friends and family. And consider subscribing to my channel if you don't want to miss out on future episodes.
Delta Tango Tango, runway vacated.
Thank you.
And be sure to check out the website ForFunFlyer.com for the monthly contest and information. I hope to see you next time. Fly safe. Bye.
Deze ForFunFlyer is ook een for work flyer.